This video isn't about fixing your life. It's about understanding why you feel stuck, even though you're trying. Because if you're watching this, chances are you're not lazy, you're not clueless, and you're not doing nothing. You think, you reflect, you want a change, yet somehow nothing really moves. And that's frustrating in a very specific way, because from the outside, your life might look fine. But from the inside, it feels like you're standing still. This video isn't going to motivate you. It's not going to give you a 5-step morning routine. And it's not going to tell you to just work harder. Instead, we're going to slow down and look at what's actually happening underneath. Because most people aren't stuck because they lack discipline. They're stuck because they misunderstand the trap they're in. Roadmap, I want to break this into 8 parts. We will talk about why feeling stuck is not a failure, but a signal. We will also look at the invisible loop that keeps people frozen for years. And finally, we'll talk about what clarity actually is and why most people never reach it. No hype, no pressure, just honesty. Part 1, stuck is not what you think. Most people think being stuck means not doing enough, but that's rarely true. Being stuck usually looks like this. You consume a lot of information, you reflect a lot, you plan, you wait for the right moment, and on the surface it feels productive. But internally something feels off because you're not moving forward, you're circling. The problem is, modern self-improvement has taught people the wrong lesson, that if you just understand yourself more, clarity will magically appear. So people keep thinking, and thinking, and thinking. But thinking alone doesn't create clarity. It often creates avoidance. Part 2, the comfortable limbo. Here's something uncomfortable but true. Being stuck is often more comfortable than moving forward. Not emotionally, but psychologically. Because staying stuck protects you from choosing wrong, committing being seen, failing publicly. As long as you're figuring things out, you don't have to risk anything. And that's the trap. You tell yourself, I just need more time. I need more clarity. I'll start when it feels right. But what you're really saying is, I'm afraid of locking myself into a direction. And that fear is rational, because choosing one path means closing others. Part 3, why clarity doesn't come first. This is where most people get it backwards. They think clarity, action, confidence. But in reality, it's action, feedback, clarity. Clarity is not something you find by thinking. It's something you earn by moving. Most people wait until they feel ready. But readiness is a feeling that only appears after momentum exists. So they wait, and the waiting feels responsible, but it slowly turns into self-distrust. Because every month that passes without movement quietly reinforces one belief. Maybe I'm not the kind of person who follows through. And that belief is far more damaging than any wrong decision could ever be. Part 4, the invisible loop. Let me describe the loop that keeps people stuck for years. It goes like this. You feel discomfort. You start analyzing your life. You find 10 possible directions. You feel overwhelmed. You delay the decision. The discomfort fades slightly. Then it comes back stronger. And each time the loop repeats, your confidence erodes a little. Not because you failed, but because you didn't choose. This is why people feel tired without doing much. Mental effort without resolution is exhausting. Part 5, why motivation won't save you. Most people try to escape this loop with motivation. They watch videos. They read quotes. They wait for a surge of energy. But motivation is temporary and unreliable. The real issue isn't lack of motivation. It's lack of permission. Permission to choose before you're ready. Permission to be bad at something new. Permission to disappoint an imaginary version of yourself. Most people aren't afraid of failing. They're afraid of committing to something that doesn't match who they thought they would become. Part 6, what actually unsticks you. Here's the part most advice skips. The opposite of being stuck is not having a plan. It's reducing the emotional weight of decisions. Instead of asking, what should I do with my life? Ask, what's one direction I'm willing to test for 30 days? Not forever, not perfectly, just long enough to get real feedback. Progress doesn't come from certainty, it comes from exposure. And exposure only happens when you accept that confusion is part of movement. Part 7. A quiet realization. At some point, you have to accept this. You won't think your way into a new life. You'll move your way into it. And that doesn't mean reckless action. It means small, imperfect commitment. The people you admire didn't feel ready. They just stopped negotiating with their fear. Not because they were brave, but because staying stuck became more painful than choosing. Part 8. Closing. If this video resonated, it's probably because you already know what you've been avoiding. And that's okay. Understanding comes before courage. But understanding alone is not the finish line. You don't need to fix your life. You need to interrupt the loop. That's where everything starts. Thank you for watching.